just give a very quick overview on who Vulcan is. I know there's a lot of people in this room who are familiar with the project, actually working with us on the project in many ways, but there's probably a few new faces as well. So very quickly on that, then just a brief update on what we've been doing recently and what will be ahead for us in the year ahead. So Vulcan is two things rolled into one. We are a lithium company producing raw materials and producing the final product, lithium hydroxide. We call our product VUL, which stands for carbon neutral lithium with zero fossil fuels used in the production process. This is a key differentiator for us. And we see this as a premium product produced with a combination of German and Australian technology, produced in the center of Europe, and really for that premium European automotive market, but obviously can be used globally as well. And this we supply to the auto industry, including some of our off-takers you see here on the screen. Europe is structurally short of lithium, as has been mentioned. I won't dwell on that too much. I need to say that, I mean, we live in the multipolar world now. It's not a unipolar world anymore. We live in a world of tariffs. We live in a world of weaponizing critical raw materials. This has actively happened in graphite, in germanium, in gallium. And I think this is really starting to hit home now with the Western parties in those supply chains, in that battery supply chain, that electric vehicle supply chain. So I think it was mentioned before, reality is really starting to bite. And there is a really strong push in Europe now and in Germany to at least gain some sort of resilience. I think there's no hope of Europe producing all of its critical raw materials, but at least producing as much as possible from friendly countries and producing as much as possible domestically. And we benefit from this. Recently with the Critical Raw Materials Act, we've been designated as a strategic project. This opens up a number of avenues. I don't know, some other companies here today have been designated in that way. So this provides a lot more impetus behind what we're doing, funding for future phases as well. And from a state funding perspective as well, that is also really gaining traction. So after a lot of talk, and as you can tell from our accent, I hail from Europe originally. Europeans love to talk, but I think we're finally seeing tangible action and rubber hitting the road for gaining that critical raw materials independence. We produce lithium hydroxide for high nickel cathode batteries, but we also, because our precursor is lithium chloride, we have the flexibility to produce lithium carbonate and to supply a material for lithium metal used in solid state batteries. So I think we're reasonably future-proof with the full smorgasbord of different battery technologies. Sustainability is a major part of who we are. It's a major reason of founding Vulcan originally, really to decarbonize that lithium supply chain. We were fortunate to be rated as dark green by S&P Global last year. I think we're still the only mining and metals company globally that has this rating. And this has a very positive impact with regards to offtake, but also to financing and cost of capital as well. And our target really, just from our phase one project, is to avoid about 10 million tons of CO2 that would otherwise be emitted to produce that lithium. And phase one will produce enough lithium for about 500,000 electric vehicles per annum. So there is a material decarbonising effect. And part of that is producing renewable heat. So phase one will produce renewable heat for about 90,000 people. We are already a producer of renewable power. And I should just quickly say how we do this is we pump up deep, hot brine to the surface from about 3 kilometers below the surface. This is already happening at the site that you can see on your screen and another site that we have nearby. This comes up hot and it comes up lithium rich. And we run a geothermal power plant and heat transfer plants from that brine. We sell that baseload heat and power into the grid to local consumers and decarbonize the grid with baseload renewable energy. And then before we re-inject that brine, we take one of the salts out of it. It's a brine, there's salts in it. We take one of the salts out using our proprietary process, our proprietary technology. We take one of the salts out of the brine, which is lithium, and that's lithium chloride. We produce a lithium chloride concentrate from that, and that gets upgraded to a lithium hydroxide using green power. So we've been producing renewable power for a while now, but we're also going to start producing renewable heat for the local communities as of today, actually. So we'll be supplying to the local city council, and we'll be gradually growing that district heating as they build out their district heating network. So that's part of our phase 1 project. So renewable heat, renewable power is the co-product of lithium production. So the project that we're developing, we call it phase 1. It's in the Upper Rhine-Graben, Upper Rhine Valley brine fields in the center of Europe, Germany bordering France. Phase 1 is on the German side. We've just been awarded strategic project status by the EU, as mentioned. I won't dwell on how this works, but it's very similar to oil and gas. So you've got the wells and pipelines in the upstream, the energy and lithium salts production linked to that, the wells and the pipelines in the upstream, and then you've got the downstream conversion to lithium hydroxide. And we produce a surplus of renewable energy from this process, hence why we can call it carbon neutral, and we use 0 fossil fuels in this process as well. Some of the differentiators for us, so cheap and renewable heat, from which we gain extra revenue, but also we have a very, very low cost of lithium production as well. And this is very important, obviously, in today's market where we see very high volatility in lithium prices. And is one of the reasons why we've performed quite well, actually, over the last year. We've actually been up year on year relative to a lot of the lithium markets, which has been sharply downwards. So low cost of production, long life asset, existing customer relationships, supplying that premium European automotive market. And we have the in-house technology as well to build this project, which is quite unique for Vulcan. I'll dwell on that slightly more on the later slide. This is where we're building our downstream plant. This is Frankfurt Höchst. Germany has a rich history of producing chemicals, obviously biggest chemical producer in Europe. This park has been operating for well over 100 years. It's actually got a museum on site as well, but it's still very much operating. So this is where we're building our lithium hydroxide plant, and you can see there, right on the river as well. Our upstream is about 100 kilometers away, so our upstream and downstream is incredibly well connected. So about 24,000 tons per annum of capacity of lithium production in phase 1, with that side salad of renewable energy production as well. And this we call Project Lionheart, phase 1. This is the Upper Rhine Valley, so it's a big field. You've got your upstream, where we'll be developing multiple phases of production. Wherever we build lithium production, we'll be building renewable heat and power production as well. Probably mostly heat, because we see that really is where a lot of the future demand lies. So for instance, one of our next phases is planned to be just to the north of where we are in phase 1, in a place called Ludwigshafen, biggest integrated chemical complex in the world, huge heat demand, and a ready-made customer for our heat, BASF. So we see a pipeline of future lithium production across the Upper Rhine Valley, and then increasing downstream conversion at Frankfurt Höchst. So very large resource. So Europe does have the resources to produce a lot of its own critical raw materials. We just need to use the experience we've built up here in Australia for lithium extraction and apply that to that European situation as well. It's kind of returning the favor, by the way, because Germany very much used to be a leader in mining, and it was actually Australian spies just after the First World War that stole a lot of coal technology and brought them back to Australia, to Victoria. So there's a nice circularity of history there. This is what the upstream looks like. So you've got a number of fields, farmland, industrial areas, multiple well sites that you can see, some existing, some new, will be connected by pipelines connecting that upstream. Once again, if you're familiar with oil and gas, this will look very familiar to you. We've already proven the Europe's first fully domestic lithium chemicals supply chain. So we've already produced our first lithium hydroxide material. We've invested about €100 million in an upstream plant and a downstream plant. And this is what we call our optimization or qualification plants. So these are to produce lithium hydroxide material that our customers can qualify. And the idea is that we want to get our material as much as possible fully qualified by the time we enter commercial production from the commercial plant. In the meantime, we're training our operators as well. So this has already produced that lithium hydroxide material that's come from the subsurface in the Upper Rhine Valley. So that's been really, really good to see. I mentioned low cost of production already. That's really an inherent advantage that we have because of that renewable heat on tap. Look, phase 1 is really execution ready. Key partners, key contractors appointed, ready to go. We're just waiting for our financing to finish, to be signed, and then we can formally start the execution process. But already some pre-execution activities are underway. On the financing side, to be honest, this is what's consuming us on a daily basis at the moment, and it's consuming a lot of the company's energy. We had a great end to 2024, so we got just under 1.5 billion Australian, or just under 900 million euro of debt commitments in place. Obviously, conditional commitment to the whole process finishing, but that was a really good result. So it's a consortium of banks. In addition, we had the European Investment Bank, and this is what I mean with Europe's really starting to get going now and starting to back these projects. We received board approval for a funding envelope of up to 500 million euro as well. We were then awarded, very grateful to be awarded, 100 million euro from the German federal government as well for the renewable heating part of our project. And we're actually in discussions for further assistance on the lithium side as well, and for German Raw Materials Fund equity participation in our project. So there's a lot of tangible assistance which is now coming in from the German federal side, the state side, and the supranational European Union side as well for these projects. This is the world we live in today. We know that other countries have been massively subsidizing their industries. This is about leveling the playing field with that. And really, we're starting to see a lot of progress there, which is really great to see. So financing process is going well. We're now trying to usher this to the finish line, and the aim is to get this signed in the second half of the year, and in the second half of the year start to build this project in Europe. So I won't dwell on that as well. I think I've already discussed some of those milestones already, but phase one execution is partly drilling a lot of wells. So we have some wells already, but we need more to increase that brine production to the surface. We have our own in-house drilling unit, Vulcan, 2 onshore, essentially oil and gas drilling rigs, fully electric, 60-meter mast. And this has now mobilized on site to start developing these new wells as well. So Europe's energy transition and critical raw materials independence already in action. I mentioned the next phase for us is about growing that pipeline across the Upper Rhine Valley. So we announced a partnership with BASF late last year to that effect, and we've already started developing that project. The first stage is seismic surveys, so we can identify where we want to put the wells. But that project is already progressing well, so we can grow the pipeline as the market grows. Look, technology-wise, this is quite an important point. I mean, low-cost lithium production from brines is defined by this technology, which is widely called direct lithium extraction, specifically adsorption-type direct lithium extraction. There are many different kinds. And this has been rapidly adopted, including by not just the mining industry, but the oil and gas industry as well, who are also moving into low-cost lithium production. We note that China has announced restriction of the export of this technology, which enables low-cost lithium production. And we expect those restrictions to have some effect, some ripple effect on this technology globally. Luckily, we had pre-invested around about 100 million euros to develop this technology internally to Vulcan. So we started doing this about 7 years ago. And what we have is essentially the same family of technology, which is used, makes up about 10% of global lithium production today, but with some higher performance tweaks as well. And we make this product through toll manufacturers in Germany and France. So the supply chain is fully independent and it's not vulnerable to international geopolitics. So you can see China really dominates the supply of this technology globally, and Vulcan is one of the few Western companies that has this technology independent of China. So that's a very important point. I mentioned the in-house drilling company already, so I went on that. Looking ahead, and just to finish off, really 2025 is all about finishing that financing. Look, it's a really tough environment, clearly, for lithium. I think we're helped by our partners. We're helped by the offtake agreements we have in place with some of the major automakers and battery makers in Europe. We have some really supportive shareholders as well, some of whom will be participating in the project in different ways as well. We have a lot of government support, which is really great to see. We have a great team, about 350 people on the ground, mostly on the ground in Germany, who are really starting to build this thing. So we have a lot of the key pieces in place. It's just getting that financing to the finish line, hopefully second half of this year, and then starting to build, this fully independent lithium supply chain in Europe. So that's all ahead of us this year. It should be a very transformative year for us. I think we're seeing a lot more interest on the offtake side as well, to take also volume from future phases as well. So I think we're interested in discussing particularly on the premium ends and premium German automakers as well. So I think that is potentially ahead of us in the coming months as well, to increase our number of off-takers going forwards as well. And then I think we've got a number of other partnerships lined up as well to grow that pipeline. So a lot of exciting developments ahead of us, including finalizing that financing package. So I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day.